Hi, put a finger down if you ever looked up flights at 2 a.m. to Switzerland and thought, what if I just left and became mysteriously hot somewhere else? Is it is it just me? How many of you have romanticized starting over somewhere where no one knows your middle name, your high school lore, or your situationship history? New country, new routine, maybe bangs. Okay, maybe no bangs. There is something deeply seductive about the idea that geography can reset identity. Like, if I just move, I'll finally become disciplined or confident or healed. That if we just change the backdrop, we can change the character. A lot of us feel this urge to upend everything, to move, to start over, to stop feeling like our life is buffering at 72%. And I want to talk about that urge, not the come move with me to Korea, hee hee ha ha, the psychological one, because I acted on it. If you're new here, long story short, I moved to Korea, not in a 5-year plan spreadsheet calculated way, more in a if I stay in America for too long, I might emotionally fossilize kind of way. That fear that if you stay in one place too long, you'll calcify into a version of yourself that isn't fully formed yet. I could give you the whole romanticized, I finally know what I'm doing and this was the best decision of my life version of the story, but that's not what we're here to do today. We're talking about what actually happens when you flip your life 180 degrees in the name of growth. Also, really quickly before I get into this, I know moving, especially internationally, is a privilege. It's expensive and not everyone can just pack up and go. I feel like I was really lucky because I had a job before I left. I was able to save and I was living with my mom, which gave me a lot of financial breathing room. So I'm not saying everyone needs to move across the world. This is more about the urge to grow. For some people, that's a new country. For others, that's a new job, a new city, or just changing your environment in whatever way is accessible to you. Your 20s are psychologically unstable on purpose. There's a developmental phase called emerging adulthood. It's marked by identity exploration, instability, self-focus, and this constant feeling that your life could branch out into 10 completely different timelines. You're not locked in yet. Most of us don't have mortgages, we don't have kids. Our biggest commitment might be a skincare routine that we abandon every 3 months. Hell, I changed my skincare routine last night. When the cost of risk is lower, your brain craves expansion. Your brain does not reward certainty, it rewards possibility. Dopamine spikes more around anticipation than achievement, so sometimes planning the move feels better than living it. New environment, new people, new possibilities. Of course you romanticize moving. I recently took a professional personality assessment with my psychiatrist. When the results came back, I actually scored very high on novelty seeking and high on impulsivity, and I just sat there like,
Oh, oh, that actually explains a lot.
high novelty seeking feels incredible in the beginning. You feel brave, expansive, just giving off main character vibes. But once the new thing becomes normal, your brain starts looking around and it goes, okay, what's next? So the real question isn't, do you crave novelty? It's, are you chasing growth or are you just allergic to boredom? Allison, it's just you and me. You can be honest. When I decided to move to Korea, it wasn't dramatic. It started as a random thought, then it lingered, then it became persistent, like a question tapping on the inside of my skull every time life felt slightly too predictable. At some point, I realized it wasn't going away. And I've learned that persistent curiosity is data. It wasn't that I hated where I was, it was that I had experienced that version of myself fully. The same routines, the same social dynamics, the same identity people expected from me. There's something subtle that happens when you stay in one ecosystem too long. People relate to the version of you that they first met, and without realizing it, you keep performing that old identity because it's easier than possibly not meeting expectations. I felt like I was shrinking instead of growing, and growing doesn't always mean moving countries. Sometimes it starts with how you invest in yourself. That's why I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare, because this genuinely connects to everything that I've been talking about. Before I moved, I kept asking myself who I was trying to grow into, and one answer was to be a better storyteller. One class I recently took is Cinematic Vlogging Masterclass, Make YouTube Videos Feel Like Films by Audie Singh, who's a videographer and YouTuber on Skillshare, and it genuinely changed the way I think about editing. One of the biggest things he talks about is how editing isn't just cutting clips. It's shaping emotion, it's pacing, it's knowing when to let a moment breathe instead of rushing to the next shot. Now, I slow down more. I think about what I want you guys to feel. I plan with intention instead of fixing everything later. Skillshare has creative classes taught by world-class creatives like professional illustrators, renowned graphic designers, and successful entrepreneurs. It's one of the best places to learn a creative skill or pick up a new hobby. If you're looking to reconnect with your creativity and maybe avoid brain rot, Skillshare is where humans come to learn from other humans. So, the first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code will receive 1 month free trial of Skillshare. Thank you, Skillshare. Anyways, even with all that growth energy, there was still a real fork in the road. Because growth sounds noble, but in reality, it competes with comfort. There's also a parallel universe where I never got on the plane to Korea. I almost stayed in America for a boy. We listen and we don't judge. We listen and we don't judge. This is a safe place. Oh my god. And listen, he was great, but I kept asking myself one question. If this relationship disappeared tomorrow, would I regret not taking the leap? And no matter how much I thought about it, the answer was yes. Because discomfort fades and regret lingers. I didn't want to wake up at 32 resenting a decision I chose out of fear. So I ended up choosing the uncertainty that I could own. The first month after moving, it's like a baby trying bacon for the very first time. Every subway ride felt cinematic, every inconvenience felt like character development. I romanticized everything. I ate that shit up. I was that girl that romanticized convenience store runs, but it's just another 7-Eleven. It's a 7-Eleven in another country. I genuinely thought I won in life, and then month 2 happened. The adrenaline wore off, and suddenly I wasn't that cool girl that was dilly-dallying at Olive Young. I was just confused. I was hurt, confused, and cold. There's a predictable adjustment curve. Honeymoon, frustration, adjustment, acceptance. The honeymoon phase is cute. She's cute. She's really cute. The frustration phase humbles you. I was homesick without knowing I was homesick, but it wasn't because I missed America. I missed competence. Back home, I knew how to exist without effort. I knew how things worked. I knew who I was in that ecosystem. But in Korea, I felt like a beginner at life, aka a noob. And losing competence feels like losing control. And as someone who's independent and control driven, I did not like that. I am working on it though. There was one night I stood in a grocery store staring at a wall of products I couldn't read, and I felt this wave of panic that made no logical sense. But it wasn't about the groceries. It was about realizing I had voluntarily placed myself in a situation where I was constantly slightly behind. There were nights I laid in bed and genuinely thought, what did I do? I also avoided people back home because I felt like I needed proof that I was thriving, that the move was worth it, that I didn't blow up my life for nothing. If I admitted I was struggling too soon, it felt like I'd invalidated my own decision. So I isolated, which shockingly made it worse. Wow. But around month 4, something shifted. Not because everything was perfect, but because I stopped trying to win the move. I reached out, I admitted that I was having a hard time, and nothing catastrophic happened. No one judged me, and people actually missed me and they wanted to hear from me, and they understood that this period of my life was going to be difficult. And that's when I realized that the pressure had been coming from me the entire time. Shocker. Huge transitions are stressors, even positive ones. Moving countries disrupts your routine, your language patterns, your support system, your identity anchors. For me personally, my anxiety got very loud. There were days I genuinely thought I had ruined my life. Quite an irrational thought, if you ask me. But I was like fully convinced. Once again, not because Korea was bad, but because my body was so overwhelmed and I didn't know at the time. I recently started taking Lexapro after I moved to Korea, and let me just say it clearly, there is nothing wrong with getting help. Nothing. Medication does not mean that I failed. It simply means I'm supporting my brain while it adjusts to huge life changes. Once I addressed my anxiety properly, I could actually experience Korea instead of just surviving it, and that changed everything. Thank you to my psychiatrist and Lexapro. There's a concept in psychology called possible selves. There are versions of you that exist in imagination. The confident one, the disciplined one, the adventurous one. When you change environments, those versions feel closer to us because no one is holding you to the old version of yourself. But moving does not automatically give you a new personality. It gives you space, but you still have to choose who you want to be. It's like one of those pick your own adventures type of books. Did you guys read those when you were younger? You either see struggle as proof that it's something that may be too difficult for you in that season of life, or proof that it's something you can experience life from and grow. And now that I'm saying this, I feel like those two go hand in hand. But yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Do you know what I'm trying to say? If you move somewhere new, give yourself 6 months. The first 3 months are emotionally unreliable. You're either romanticizing everything or spiraling, or both. Around month 4 to 6, your nervous system stabilizes. You have routines. You have at least one person you can text whenever something weird happens. Then you can start evaluating clearly. Is this all misaligned, or was I just uncomfortable? So let me just say on record, moving to Korea did not fix my life. It exposed my insecurities and fears to the core. It stretched me out to the point where I don't know if I can be stretched out even more. It triggered me to the point where I had to seek professional help. But it also healed parts of me. I'm learning to love my family again. I'm learning to genuinely feel thankful for the life I'm living. But most importantly, I'm learning who Jinju is, who I am as a person, what I like and what I don't like, what my boundaries are, and what makes me genuinely happy. So yes, I would still choose this path again. Your 20s are one of the few windows where reinvention is socially acceptable, but do it consciously, not to prove something, not to outrun yourself, not because you think a new city will change you completely as a person. Do it because you're ready to meet the next version of yourself. There's this one text message my sister-in-law sent me right before I boarded the plane to Korea, and it's a text that I hold very dearly to my heart. And the context of this message is what she felt during the time she moved to New York from Chicago, and she was actually around the same age as me. She said, "That's how I felt coming to New York. I wanted to do everything for Ainu," which is her name, "and give her everything and be so kind and sweet to her because she went through so much before that. And I saw her and I wanted her to know I love her so much. I hope you can experience that too." I want to cry just thinking about what place I was in before I actually moved and how much these words actually helped me at the time. This is just in a general life context. If you're starting a new job, moving to a new city, trying to make decisions so your 20-something-year-old self can feel loved, I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you. Okay, I'm sorry. Enough with the ooey gooey talk. Some of my friends are probably gonna drag me for this segment of the video, but it's fine. It's okay. Anyways, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I guess we have no choice but to see each other in the next video. Forehead kiss!